Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What is up, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling B-double Brandon Benefield, GB Gerard Bonner, and the lovely Diana Michelle coming at you. We are V3, and we're coming off the heels of an absolutely insane 4th annual RumbleJack. You guys, it's been a week. How are we doing? Are we recovered
riding
yet?
the high. It was an amazing show.
Yeah.
So many surprises. And I just want to point out one little point. How about Enzo and Zicky and their little dance off, and then Sean Legacy?
I thought it was hilarious. I don't know
What in the world did that white boy do?
Whoever expected Sean Legacy to do the Enzo? Is it a dance? Do we call it a dance?
I don't know. I call it the Enzo.
A shuffle? A shuffle, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure what to call it. It is specific and unique to Enzo.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, you know, as it happened, and we'll touch on all of this here once we get into it, but as it happened, I think I even said to GB, because we had already seen a dance-off taking place with the Cat and Jimmy Wang Yang. And I said,
Right.
Well, we already saw a dance-off. I'm not really sure what we call this.
Wait, back that up. I don't know if that was the dance-off, because Jimmy.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't call that
we better
dancing?
get into all of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might have to have a conversation and see what's going on.
He needs to get
Wait. You want a conversation with Jimmy after the last conversation y'all had on this? I was about to say, are you sure?
Somebody needs to have a conversation with Jimmy.
There we go.
Somebody needs to call his mama.
Because you guys might be going to a prom together. So yeah.
Holy cow.
We're off the rails already, folks.
Way
Just
off.
less than 5 minutes in.
I tell you, I think Jimmy needs dance lessons from Jazzy. I think Jazzy last year had a better showing of dancing. But anyways, so let's backtrack. Let's get to the beginning. We'll recap the whole night here. We start out with Carly Bravo, an unannounced Carly Bravo promo of sorts. We knew that he was in the RumbleJack. We had no idea he was going to start the show with microphone in hand.
Oh.
But hey, I wasn't mad at it because Carly on the mic, Carly in the ring. I'm here for it.
Great.
Now, granted, yeah, he has kind of sided with the dark side lately, but y'all know we're Carly fans here.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, he has sided up with some dastardly folks as of late. But anyways, what do we think? Him coming out, throwing out the promo, and then of course the guy that came out and surprised him.
Well, he came out and dissed Overkill. Every single member of Overkill, including Danny. What? And I guess Zicky wasn't having it. He just happened to be in the back, decided he was going to make way. So him and little Gordo came on out and tried to handle some business.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think about Carly joining Contra, kind of like when LeBron joined the Lakers, like if you were a Cleveland fan, you hated it. If you're a LeBron fan, you can cheer for LeBron whether you like the Lakers or not.
Yeah.
With that said, nobody's talked about a couple of things. For one, the good folks at the Georgia Wrestling History Awards, when they recapped the show, called this Carly Bravo's single greatest promo, which it's really hard to argue with that. He made some really compelling points in there as well, talking about why Contra was better than Overkill. And I was shocked because I had never thought of comparing the two. But then he talked about the benevolence of the leader of Contra. And most don't think of Cruel as a benevolent soul, but Cruel having the kindness of John Cena to create a Make-A-Wish happen for some young lucky fan was really, really kind of him to do. And I hadn't realized, I was like, Carly is indeed right. I'd never thought of, maybe one benevolent act, before Christmas, how kind of him to do. But I will say this, I thought it was a powerful statement from Carly, which led to a match that then puts Carly in a space where he has now faced every male member of Overkill in a match post Overkill. Pretty crazy to think about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
a
wild.
great
Yeah.
match.
Yes, it
Vicky
was.
came out
Yeah.
pretty much telling me talk too much.
Well, yeah. So the cool thing was we didn't know Zicky was there. The crowd didn't know Zicky was there. He
Right.
said right away, "Hey, by the way, I'm a surprise entrant in the RumbleJack, and I just so
Mhm.
happened to hear you talking all this garbage." And that's what prompted him to come out there. And as you said, he brought Gordo, everybody's favorite little pup. And by the way, Diana, I was so jealous. I think even on commentary, I was yelling, "Hey, over here, let me hug
Oh,
Gordo."
everybody was yelling to Patty, but I didn't even think to bring it to you guys.
Well, next time, okay?
I was
Next
getting
time.
on them puppy loves and smooches.
I
And he
know.
fell asleep. He fell asleep
Oh, wow.
in my arms. He was
And
snoring.
here's the deal. As big of a fan as we are of Carly Bravo, this was about to be the one thing that turned me off of Carly Bravo.
Okay, that
He
was a
went-
line.
He went after Gordo. He went
He
after
took him from
Gordo.
me.
I couldn't believe
He
it.
was attempting to choke slam that puppy, and that was going to be it. That was going to be it. Thank God for Carly.
We've seen some dastardly deeds in the world of wrestling. We think about Gene Snitsky going to kick a baby, and that's just kind of one of those.
It wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault, and I'm sure Carly would tell us it wasn't his fault that he was about to choke slam a dog. And had it happened, it certainly would have been the single most deplorable act we've seen in SHW. But thankfully, it was stopped. But he had him goozled.
Yeah,
He did.
I mean, had him in the air. There was nothing stopping him except for, thankfully, his opponent, because this would have really been a bad situation.
And we've talked about how Zicky's been on quite the roll as of late, and then of course joining Contra on top of that. And to everybody's surprise, I think, other than Zicky, I don't think Zicky was shocked, but Zicky got the victory here.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of surprised me. And I mean, they both were already in the RumbleJack. It wasn't like Carly's opportunity for the RumbleJack was on the line.
No,
so neither
it was
of them,
just to make a point.
Right. And Zicky absolutely made that point, and he got the victory there.
You think that bothers Carly?
Oh yeah.
You think that's gonna like disrupt his game a little bit? Or he's just gonna shake it off, be like, oh, whatever, and just get back to being Carly?
No, I think Carly really wanted to be the one guy who defeated every member of Overkill. And he had done that up until that point. And so that's going to always stick with him. He did not defeat all of Overkill. Now, the irony to me that he battled every member of Overkill in the one promotion where Overkill didn't get to run rampant, that's not lost on me either. But I think it's significant for Carly. And so that loss is going to really stick with him for a while until he does something to avenge it. And I'm not sure what that something's going to be.
Yeah. Well, both of those guys did show up later in the evening in the RumbleJack, and we will get to that here in just a bit. But one gentleman that had one final chance in a last chance qualifier for the RumbleJack happens to be one of Diana's you can tell by the look on her face. Those of you who are just listening and not watching the podcast, the eyes are rolling nearly in the back of her head. But I'm talking about the frat boy, because I'm not going to call him the frat daddy. Come on, let's be real. Bryce Cannon had one last chance, and he had an open challenge for this last chance qualifier. And the music that hit and the graphic that showed up on the screen before this gentleman hit the stage, I think had those that know, their jaws hit the floor, and ours included, because Murder One then walked out on stage, the one and only
SHW Green.
Yeah, Blacklist Uno, Murder One, walking out into the Action Building in Canton, Georgia. Now, here's the thing: he had been at the Action Building before, just as a spectator, a while back. But nobody ever, and I think then it was probably trying to stir the pot and cause a little bit of trouble then. But nobody ever would have expected him to show up and actually enter and compete in an SHW ring. But that's exactly what he did. He showed up. He took Bryce Cannon up on the open challenge, and it didn't take long before
30 seconds, maybe?
Maybe.
Just enough time to do a couple of moves and really put him in place.
But Murder One defeated Bryce Cannon and became an entrant into the RumbleJack. You guys, your thoughts on Murder One at SHW?
Look, I said pre-show, whoever Bryce's opponent would be, I'm on their side.
And for those of you that are not watching and just listening, that was the 2-finger salute.
That's right.
That the hierarchy is known for. Yes.
Poor Bryce. I mean, his mouth got him in trouble again.
Doesn't it always?
Shocking.
Again.
It always does.
Not to mention, he threw a mic out of the ring and broke it.
He did.
He did. That was not good. But, you know, I don't have a whole lot to say about that. It didn't last long enough to have a whole lot of comments, except Murder One wiped the floor with him. So, next.
Yeah, I'm still shocked. And when you guys go back and watch this, you will hear in my voice the complete and utter shock. And by the time I could try to gather myself to say something, the match was over.
Right.
And then he had a live mic. And just remember, for those who lived through the Monday Night Wars, the absolute shock that you had when Eric Bischoff showed up on Monday Night Raw. Like, nobody could believe this is literally akin to that. It's something you never thought you would see. And considering that Murder One had put together, obviously, promotions that rivaled SHW over the years, to see him in an SHW, it was surreal. It was really surreal. And naturally, that started now with him getting access to the RumbleJack, raised a lot of questions once we got into the RumbleJack, because he has some long-standing relationships with people that were in the RumbleJack. Where would they side? We would ultimately find out during the RumbleJack.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Most specifically, Joe Black. And like you said, we'll get there here in a little bit. But before we get to that, let's talk about this SHW Tag Team Championship matchup where we saw All-Star Special taking on Happy Madness. And keep in mind, All-Star Special, one of the stipulations here was that they were not allowed to use their entrance music. And if any of you guys are familiar with SHW and familiar with All-Star Special, you know that one of the highlights of every show is the karaoke jam session that we have whenever All-Star Special makes their way to the ring. And it's always something in the jukebox that everybody knows the words to. The whole Canton Youth Choir is singing along, having a great time. So last month when Brooklyn said, hey, by the way, you guys don't get any entrance music, we were all kind of shocked. Like, well, that takes away, it's almost like it takes away some of their power or something, you know? And we didn't know what was going to happen. Well, there was a bit of a push on the SHW fan page over the last several weeks, with fans kind of coming up with ideas of what to do. And they put it into play. And it took them a second to kind of get going and get in sync a little bit. In sync, no pun intended, for the last show. Oh, no, that was Backstreet Boys, wasn't it? But anyways, it was one of those.
Keep it up. You'll end up singing it for a week.
I know.
Right? But it ended up being We Will Rock You, the Queen classic. And the fans gotten beat and gotten rhythm. Diana, of course, helping out. Diana, you made us worried at one point, because as you were doing that, Happy Madness was already in the ring. And Sunny Days gave you that evil monster look that he gives.
Well,
and
Sal
I was like,
he came at me crazy and was giving me crazy eyes. And I was just like, okay, Sal, you're whatever. But Sunny came after me.
Yeah. Sal's already a little unhinged as it is.
To try to keep the beat, because evil. Ooh, oh my God! I told y'all we needed somebody to lead it. I was trying to get Cheyenne to get on the stage and kick the stage, get the bass, but poor thing. She was probably too nervous to do it. But either way, thank God for the mic.
Hey,
he tried to take my mic. I had to run.
To her defense, the last time she was on the stage, was a
2 monsters came out after her. So
Right. So I could see why maybe she didn't want to get back on the stage this time. So it's all good. But the crowd did finally
Fair
get
enough.
get the beat going and start singing All-Star Special Out to the Ring. And it was a pretty cool sight, I thought. What'd you guys think?
It was. I want the music next to Lord help, man. We did what we could. I think that the crowd did the best we could with not knowing exactly who was leading what. They
tried.
They tried. They did. It's a lot different than screaming and hollering than it is when you have to actually sing.
Right.
Singing makes a lot of people go into a shell. They don't want to sing around other people. So it's fine. We got them to the ring, and victory for the ass.
Well, there you go. Well, not quite a victory, but a title retention. I heard it too, GB, but
retained.
Oh, and she completely missed it. That's the best part. Like, she's like, yeah, they won. What's the problem? I'm not there yet.
They kept their belts.
Mm-hmm. Victory for the
whatever. It was a fun.
Yeah, I will say this. I think this is where the challenge of leadership or lack thereof shows up, right? Like, I think they're obviously accustomed to, All-Star Special leading them, and then they kind of pick up afterwards.
Sing along instead of
sing along instead of lead along. And it just goes to prove that every background singer can't step up and be the lead singer. So no knock to them, but I think to that point, I think that was the kind of chaos that Brooklyn wanted to create, where if they did not have their leaders leading them, it'd be much more difficult to create that swell of momentum that always happens whenever we have the sing-along with All-Star Special. And so that bit of chaos really ran throughout that entire match from start to finish.
Oh, yes. It was crazy. And as you said, it did fuel All-Star Special, and Huck was in a rage, was he not?
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah,
he'd had enough. He was fed up.
So much so that, and this backfired on Sal Rinauro, because Sal Rinauro actually took Diana's table, the timekeeper's table, and pulled it up next to the ring, and he had something in mind for it, but it backfired as Huck, as you said, in a rage, just took it all out. And GB, you say it all the time, he's angry, and you won't like him when he's angry.
That's right.
Nope. And I'm sure Sal did not like him when he was angry.
Absolutely not. And from our vantage point, and by the way, despite whatever you might feel about Sal and joining the dark side, he is okay. Those of you that were there saw him smack his head pretty darn hard on the concrete floor, so much so that there was a little pool of blood when he got up, and he scared us all. And I know he was probably freaked out a bit right when it happened, but he got up, shook it off, showed his toughness for sure. And we saw him after the show. He was up and about, and
he was
crazy.
Yeah, he showed up again in the RumbleJack to our surprise.
He's crazy.
We didn't think the end, of course, but
right. But the way that ended up, whether it was a DQ or the match got stopped, it was kind of chaotic. Hard to tell exactly what happened. But what we do know is that All-Star Special got on the mic and set up a no DQ match, maybe for this next show or sometime in the future. We're not quite sure. But what they said they were going to do is put everybody's titles on the line. So Happy Madness with the Southern Fried Tag titles, All-Star Special with the Southern Honor Tag titles, winner take all.
Take all.
GB, you said it the other night. It's historic.
It is. I don't recall anything quite like this ever happening in Southern Honor before. We've had moments, a rare moment where another promotion would defend its title at Southern Honor, but we have never had two promotions put both of their titles simultaneously on the line in a title unification match of sorts. One team becomes the champion of both promotions. Now, I don't know when this match is going to happen, if it's going to happen in September, if it ends up happening at the anniversary show. It is an anniversary show caliber match.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just I don't know what's going to happen here, but it's history. So you'll want to be at the September show if it happens there, or you'll want to be there anyway. But this is going to be history.
And here's the thing too, like we have to wait until we hear official word from our booker or general manager, because All-Star Special just threw it out there. We don't know if this match will be made official. Brooklyn might look at it and go, no, why would I put my guys in a match where they put their titles? So it may be one of those things where she shoots the idea down. We're not sure what's going to happen.
And then does there need to be cooperation from Southern Fried in this particular case?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine Southern Fried saying, sure, put our titles up on the line in Southern Honor's house.
If they do okay it, will David Manders be in the house?
And
who knows?
And what would he be willing to do to get the Southern Honor Tag Team Championships on Southern Fried soil? Are you? Oh,
yeah. See,
could you imagine
a whole lot of winning and a whole lot of losing in this whole situation?
Yeah. Wow.
So we'll see if that match. Selfishly, I hope that match happens.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Of course, we want to see it, but we don't know for sure. But as soon as we find out, you'll see it on the SHW social media pages. It will make sure we put it out there for you guys once we hear an official announcement. But anyways, let's move on to the big old main event, which was the RumbleJack. And fans, let me just tell you, we were not short of surprises. We were not short of unexpected moments. And when this hits IWTV, do yourself a favor. You're going to want to watch it. And
and if you were there, you're going to want to watch it again.
Right. You'll want to watch it again for sure. I definitely want to go back and watch it for sure. And you'll definitely hear it in our voices. Some of the surprises, how shocked we were. So you can only imagine how shocked some of the wrestlers in the ring were when certain people were showing up. You had the real one of all people. We touched on it at the beginning of the show, Enzo showing up and having a dance off or a shuffle off, whatever you call the little move he does with Zicky Dice of all people.
Which were those two ever cut out of the same cloth? Like,
no kidding.
Boy.
Sheesh.
No kidding. And you said it the other night.
Got a look of the real one in his gimmick, and Enzo definitely has some outlandishness in his, and them together, that was very entertaining. We could have done a whole match with just them two. It would have been great. It would have been just great. But that was definitely added surprise and excitement in the whole RumbleJack.
You had Immortal Tattoos sponsoring a guest, Ernest the Cat Miller, WCW legend, 3-time world karate champion. And then you also had the Diamond Sheik bringing out his special client, who was the Ayatollah.
I would say this. I don't know that anybody in Southern Honor really understood the depth of the pockets of the Diamond Sheik. He told us last month that he was bringing an international superstar, and he literally did bring an international movie superstar in the Ayatollah. And if you follow the Diamond Sheik, you also know how deep his pockets run. This week, he has made all sorts of wrestling news, being in the house of Rick Ross, and potentially getting him into the business. And so the Diamond Sheik showing up the way he did in Southern Honor really did something that I don't know that any of us are really prepared for. I think he unleashed something that could have been Pandora's box. With his pockets that deep, who else could he potentially bring to Southern Honor in the future? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm here for it too. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to whatever comes down the line. But it was cool to see him there. And then we had some other surprises, just some old faces we hadn't seen in a long time. We talked about Sean Legacy earlier. AC Mack made an appearance. You had
the world champion.
Yeah, that's right. The IWTV world champ. Then you had Austin Towers, last year's RumbleJack winner, making an appearance. Of course,
seen him in a minute.
If you didn't hear or didn't see the pictures, by the way, PR Sig Photos posted the photos earlier this week on SHW's Facebook page. So if you want to check those out. And but yeah, you saw. Remember what happened with Cyrus and the spike to the eye from Judas? Something similar happened to Austin Towers when Judas confronted him after being eliminated. Both of them were eliminated. And then Judas went and grabbed your microphone, Diana, and said, "Now, Austin Towers, is eliminated. And I don't know if he meant
Yeah.
like for good or just from the match, but I don't know. It was
Over the top
wild.
rope was not enough for him. He definitely wanted to put him out.
That
He's
was
just
something.
trying to make a statement on anybody. I
Well,
mean,
not just anybody, but any big man. He
Well,
is
he
going
went-
after
he
the
was
big
gonna-
men.
But Adam Priest.
Well, that too. You're right. You're right.
I mean,
forgot
okay,
about
look, Adam Priest is a big guy.
Well, he is a big guy. Adam
Right here.
Priest the Stallion.
That's right.
Adam Priest the Stallion, who
He's just not as tall.
he's got clout.
He's
Yes,
also
he
got some
does.
baddies.
He
He's
does.
got some baddies.
He's
But
got
you know what?
the baddies. Yeah, but
Just look it up. Look it up,
He
folks.
does
That's
have some baddies.
That's in a different
does.
universe. That's in a different
Yeah.
universe. But you can look it up and see what I'm talking about. It was one of my favorite
He's
things.
the
from
envy of a lot of people right
from-
now.
That
from
was
this
pretty
past
awesome.
week. Anyways, we missed him at the RumbleJack. He wasn't there. He was
No.
Well, he
think
was
he might have been at the
preparing his
SCI.
baddies.
yeah, and he had that as well. But anyways, moving on. I'm sorry, it was such a great thing that happened over the weekend.
That's why you
but,
gotta hang with us.
That's right. That's right. So, anyways, moving on to the RumbleJack again. Just so many great surprises.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Well, Gunnar Miller, of course, started at number
Number 1.
one. Owen started at number 2, and both of those guys, as you've heard by now, Gunnar went the distance and actually won the whole thing. Owen had a great showing, lasting
Again.
almost an hour.
Mhm.
Jimmy Wang Yang, Jazzy Yang were there.
Mhm.
They put on a great show. A little bit better showing this year than last year. They lasted a little bit
Danny
longer.
Jordan showed up.
Danny
I don't
J.
know.
So here's one of those things about the
No
RumbleJack. It's a the RumbleJack is a no disqualification match. So that means anything goes. If you're somebody like the Kill Billy, you can bring in a barbed wire door, you can bring in
Mhm.
skewers, you can bring in all kinds of stuff. It's no DQ, which also means anybody that's not in the match can come into the ring and eliminate somebody else as long as they go over the ropes, the top rope, both feet hit the floor. And that's what happened to Jazzy Yang. Danny
Mhm.
Jordan surprised everybody. Not an official entrant, but she
Right.
jumped in the ring, threw Jazzy over the top. Jazzy got eliminated, and then they continued to brawl all around ringside and all the way to the back. So who in the world knows what that means? But we haven't seen Danny in forever. You know, she'd been out
I
with
hope
that
it
injured
means
wrist.
Danny's back. I hope she's getting back in the ring.
I do too, because she's been out with that injured wrist, and
Yeah.
after that accident she was in several months back, and so I'm hoping she's back. And could we see a little bit of something going on between her and Jazzy Yang? I'm here for it. I hope so.
Yeah, totally.
But
Totally
man.
here. So what
Yeah.
about when Prater decided to turn?
I was gonna just kind of blow past that because, like, what in the
No.
world was he
No,
thinking?
that has to be talked about.
And then he went right back to ref it. Like GB was like,
Right.
"You just took one of the craziest looking bumps getting thrown out of the ring,
Mhm.
and we thought he was done for. We thought the medics were gonna come out and take him to the back.
Mhm.
Instead, he just kind of
Well,
slinks his way back."
Enter yourself into the RumbleJack and attack Gunner.
Of all
Right.
the people,
I mean,
now maybe the thought process might have been, "Hey, this was the first guy in the match. Maybe he's the most tired." But it's still Gunnar Miller.
Gunner.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. And the shock that all the wrestlers had when Prater showed up, they were just kind
Yeah.
of like, wait, how are you serious
Well, they
right
were
now?
looking around for who was next, and then he was like
Right.
right there in the ring already.
Yeah.
Crazy,
Ugh.
man.
Anyways, we still had that worked out.
Crazy.
Not well. Hey,
Crazy
by
moment.
the way, a new guy that I was unfamiliar with, although he's got a great first name, was Brandon Canyon, a masked luchador wrestler or something. I don't know. He didn't last very long, but I wasn't.
We didn't have much information on him. He was a
Yeah.
mystery entrant. He had a familiar look to him.
Didn't
Well,
he?
GB
And-
said maybe he's a cousin or a brother of Diana's least
Yeah, I
favorite,
mean,
because he was wearing the trunks. It
he
looked
was
like
representing him, which I just thought, like, wow, that's some
There's
dedication.
no way in the world that there are two that look like that. Two different people that
Wait,
look
wait,
like
wait.
that.
So are
Well-
you telling me that
There's
you
no
think
way.
that might have been Bryce Cannon in a mask?
I do.
Well,
Look,
Really?
I can smell. I noticed that stench anywhere. That was definitely Bryce Cannon.
Well, I mean,
Smelling like
let's
a frat
be
boy.
let's be fair. It is possible to have a twin, to have relatives that look like you. I mean, in another universe, there's a guy who played guitar and he was a musician who disappeared, but his younger brother has shown up and has been tormenting a whole nother universe. We've not seen the two of them in the same place at the same time, but they do bear some resemblance. So I mean, years ago, there was this cowboy guy named the Midnight Rider who just, he looked like he could have had a dream to be an American. I don't know. But these things happen.
Yeah, but you also haven't seen me and Wonder Woman in the same room either. Does that mean
exactly?
No, we are the same.
I knew it. I knew
We
it,
are the
GB.
same.
Oh,
I knew
Do you
it.
see how that works?
I will say though,
Because-
back to Diana's point from earlier. Could you imagine if there were two of them?
Oh, don't make me lose my composure right now.
One is plenty.
One is too much. What are you talking about?
Too much. You're right.
Jeez.
Too much.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Maybe a lot.
well, let's
Maybe
move
a
on.
lot.
So we talked about Gunnar Miller going the distance. So let's get there. It ends up the last two in the ring, Gunnar Miller, Joe Black. We have seen that happen before. This time, the rest of the locker room empties back out, becomes Lumberjacks. We have ourselves a little Lumberjack match, and Gunnar Miller pulls it off from the number one spot, goes the distance, and wins the 2022 RumbleJack.
Ends Joe Black.
And we're thinking,
Who is fresh.
right. And we're thinking Gunnar perhaps gets his title shot maybe at the September show, perhaps at the anniversary in October. No, of course not. What should be a moment of celebration, of course, gets interrupted, gets ruined by our booker. Brooklyn comes out with the mic and says, "Hey, congratulations." But nobody said you had to have the match later on. In fact, we're going to have it right now. Here comes Cruel, the SHW champ, and a worn out, a beaten down Gunnar Miller, who just went 60 minutes in the RumbleJack from the number one spot, has to have his title shot right then and there. And I'll be honest, for a couple minutes there, I thought we were going to have a new champ because was it 3 in a row that he hit the spears?
3 spears, yeah.
And then
he had him in the jackknife, didn't
he struggled to get the jackhammer initially. And I thought, man, he's just too worn out. He can't do it. And then he got him up.
Right.
And I thought, oh my Lord, he's going to do this. Hit him with the jackhammer. And somehow, some way, I mean, Cruel was so fresh. He just got out there. Gunnar was so beaten down, probably couldn't get enough on the pin. But man, Cruel kicked out. Next thing you know, scorched earth. Cruel retains the title. What should have been a night of celebration, celebrating Gunnar winning the RumbleJack, ends once again for what, like the third month in a row where Contra is standing tall to close out the show?
Yes.
Guys, what in the world? What are we going to do?
We're going to ride the storm to the end, I guess. Something's got to give.
Well,
we did not hear from Gary. We did not hear from Gary, which was shocking because he always has something to say. So I'm really looking forward to next month to see what Boss Man's got coming. He's got to have some kind of thoughts. I mean, that was his guy.
Yeah, I'm realizing as we're talking about this that part of the problem that maybe some of the folks in SHW are having is they are attacking this problem the wrong way. They keep throwing might at the problem. So you throw Owen, you throw the mighty Gunnar Miller. No. The reason why things have ended up the way they have since Brooklyn has been in power is you don't need to out-muscle her. You need to outsmart her. And whoever can come up with the smartest plan will be the one that can get past her. The problem is nobody can outsmart her right now because she's 3 and 4 steps ahead. So while Gunnar was trying to figure out how do I last 60 minutes, he did that. He did not factor in how do I potentially fight Cruel the same night.
Right.
And that's because she did what no one else has done in the history of SHW. She scheduled the title match for the same night as the RumbleJack being won. It's never been done. Somebody's going to have to figure out How do I outsmart Brooklyn? And until they figure this out, we're going to be living in the land of Southern dishonor.
Well, we saw the release of the poster earlier this week for SHW 43, which is being dubbed Southern Honor Wrestling Presents Dishonor, as you just said, GB. And so, and if you saw the poster, if you haven't, go ahead and take a look. It's on SHW's social media. But it, of course, prominently features all of the members of Contra and in big letters there, Dishonor. It'll be September 9th, by the way, the second Friday of September.
Right.
So don't forget about that. But you're not going to want to miss it. We don't have a whole lot of announcements yet for the show. So stay tuned to our podcast here as we'll announce things as they happen. Of course, stay tuned to SHW social media, and we'll be making announcements there as well. But like I said, go back, check IWTV. You're going to want to watch the 4th annual RumbleJack for yourself because it was quite a wild show, as we knew it would be. And a lot of surprises.
And keep your eye on our podcast page, like you said, and Southern Honors page, because there's always clips. Oh man, I can't wait to see the clips that come out. And man,
and our buddy Marcel was there again doing the crazy camera work. So he may be he likes to post a lot of his stuff on Instagram, and he shares them on the Southern Honor Instagram as well. So if you're not on Instagram, or if you are, go ahead and follow at Southern Honor Wrestling or at SHW Pod. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well. But so stay tuned. Check out those clips. Check out the full show on IWTV. And check us out again next Friday as we'll be back for more of the SHW podcast. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah.